I have used a lot of dab tools over the years. Let me stress this for you. I have used a lot of dab tools. See, before I started collecting glass, rigs, and pieces, I was actually collecting dab tools, and it wasn't for the intention of collecting them. I just kept buying newer ones because I was trying to find a better one than the one I was using. I would go into head shops, I'd look at every single one, I would see the differences in there, try to pick out which one I thought was going to work best for me, buy that and take it home, try it out for a little bit, and decide if it was better than the one I had or not. Some dab tools, I was like, wow, this is a really good one. It would last me weeks, until I went into another head shop and saw one I thought might look a little bit better. One thing about me is I don't like to settle for the first thing that I find if it works. I put a little time and effort. I try to find the best, most efficient thing. Something I used to say about myself back in the day is I don't stop at the gate. I go on all the rides. If there's something I like to do, I'm really going to explore every in and out of it instead of just being happy with the first thing I come across. So basically, I dropped over $100 on heated dab tools, little heated tip dab tools. I spent over $100 to try out different ones, so you don't have to. And seriously, don't buy them. These are all dumb. I kind of knew it was going to be dumb before I bought it. I knew I wasn't going to like it, but that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to make the content for you guys, so you know if something's really good or not, right? This is all my opinion, and people are going to love this tool. Some people are going to swear by this. It's the best thing they've ever used. But I'm going to tell you why I don't like them. So these are all called hot knives or hot tips, dab knives, something, whatever you want to call it. Basically what they do is they heat up the tip. You got a little button that you can push, and they'll heat up the tip. So if you scoop a dab on it, your dab will drop off. This isn't the first version of these I've seen. Years ago, I saw something in a head shop. I think it was called like a shatter slicer or shatter cutter. It was basically like a little vape battery or a little coil pen. And instead of a coil on it that you'd put wax on, it had a dab tool or a little scooper, and that scooper would heat up when you push the button. It was great for cutting shatter. When shatter was the wave, that's a big issue with it, is you go to scoop a little bit, and if you don't have a warm tip, you're not cutting through it, you break off a piece, and it shoots wherever it shoots, you know? You don't have your dab anymore. So with scooping shatter, there was an issue with some people losing some. I would usually press my tip against my e-nail to warm it up a little bit and be able to cut through my shatter. It was nice for shatter, for helping me handle it. But these now, people are using these on all kinds of concentrates. The way they're marketed, you're supposed to use it for anything and just drip your wax into your nail with the press of a button. Well, when you do that, you're wasting some. There's an unbelievable amount of waste. My very first dab that I dropped off of this, I hated it. I hated it instantly. I was like, oh my God, there's so much left on the tool. Like 10% of the dab is left on the tool. I can definitely see a market for this. I can see situations where this is going to be better than using a regular tool for some people. But for me, I don't need it. I don't need this stuff. I do mostly cold starts, and I use the Puffco a lot, and I think in those situations, you really don't need their little hot knife. I actually spent an extra $10 to get the Indiglo one. I already knew I was going to waste money on these, so I went ahead and got the Indiglo one. It's 20% more, because I figured if I was going to waste money, why not waste a little bit more to get a prettier piece of junk that I'm not going to use? So I really forgot to show some of my dab tools earlier. I got some cool ones. This one's got seashells in it. I got a little sword. I got a little pencil. I got one with the word Cewpins sandblasted on it by the homie Esco Glass. I got a lot of cool ones. Obviously, every little dabber and nail set you're going to get comes with this same dabber, whether it has silicone tips or not. I've used a lot of stuff, and I've used all these. I don't need them. Every time I dab, a little bit of my dab stays on the tool. When I do cold starts and when I use my regular tool, I'm able to scoop all of the dab off of the tip and get it into the nail. There might be a tiny small amount. If I got sugar wax, there might be a speck or two, but I could just wipe that on the inside of the container and add that to my scoop next time. With this, sometimes there's a tiny little bit of waste. Sometimes, not all the time. I got this tip specifically. This is a Skill Tools Flexi. Because it's so thin and it's curved, I've actually gone through a couple of these. I had one get bent because I mishandled it. But this one is in like really good shape, and I've done a billion dabs using this. If you're really cautious with it, it does have a thin tip, but it helps you handle your concentrate so much easier. With these though, this is the Puffco brand one. This is like Blade brand, I don't know. I spent over $100 on these. This one is just a little tip that you can screw onto any vape battery, so it's kind of like a universal one as long as you have a vape battery. But they all suck. I don't like any of them. Every time you use this, you're going to have a little bit of waste. These are good for like a quick, careless dab if you don't mind wasting any. If you're swimming in live resin or live rosin, something like this might not be bad because you got so many dabs. But holy fuck, the amount of concentrate this makes me waste is actually nuts. I hate it. I hate it. You go to drop a glob in your nail and you're like, huh, a good portion of my glob is still on the tool. And now it's warmer. It's harder to wipe off when it's warm. At least when I'm using a cold tip and a cold nail, I can wipe it all off easily. I'm able to scrape it off, squeegee it off a little bit. Using the Turp Pearl, it really helps. But with this, your tip's warm, so now you're just globbing it and smearing shit. If you're doing cold start dabs where you put the dab in the nail before you hit it, you don't need this. I don't think you want to use this. This heats up the tip. Every time I've used this or one of the other ones, you see a little bit of vapor come off of that. You're burning off terps before you even do your dab. Let me say that again. You're burning off terps before you even do your dab. So for cold starts, I think this is a waste. If you use the Puffco mainly, I think this is the waste. They're like 50, 60 bucks and you got to charge them. What if it runs out of battery? Now I got this weird electronic tool that I got to use basically like a regular dab tool that doesn't heat. It's like that Mitch Hedberg joke. An escalator can't break. It can only become stairs. Your hot knife can't break. It can only become a regular dab tool. So you're losing terps with this. You're retaining a little bit on your tip. There's always going to be a glob on your tip. You're not going to be able to wipe it completely off. You're supposed to just let it drip off, but it doesn't all drip off. Some of it stays. I can see where if you're not using like a regular banger, if you're not doing a cold start, if you're dropping a big glob on something like a terp slurper maybe, if you're doing a hot start dab, if you gotta get your dab off quickly, this might come in handy. Because yeah, I press the button for 2 seconds and my dab drops off, whatever. But I lost some terp, some of my dab stayed on the tip. I don't know. But let me know if you tried these little hot knives, these little heated dab tools. Do you like them? I'm seeing them all over. I get asked about them all the time. But in my opinion, I don't like them. I think they're a waste. I mostly do cold starts. I mostly do e-rig dabs. And I think specifically for that type of situation, you do not need this. This is just a waste of money. You don't need any of the cheap alternatives or the cheap knockoffs. They work just as good, which is shittily, but they work. So the heated tips, they might be good for some people, certain situations. If you're constantly getting shatter or certain consistencies, maybe something like this is ideal for you. But the way that I dab, I do mostly cold starts using a banger and a Puffco. This ain't for me. But if you do want to come dab with me, see how we do it, tune into my Twitch stream. We do a smoke sesh live at 9 p.m. Eastern. Come smoke with me, and if you have Amazon Prime, you can support my channel for free. And if you want to hear my favorite consistencies for concentrates, check out this tier list right here. I break down all the different consistencies and rank them based on my experience. Have a lit day, my dudes.